Oop has a troublesome neighbor, who might also be a Redditor. Original by you, Major Bummer in our legal advice on the 15th of April 2023. My neighbor, whose driveway is parallel to mine, placed wooden planters in my driveway, blocking me from exiting my car. What can I do? Quebec. We have constant legal problems with this neighbor and none of them are ever resolved because they're just minimal enough to not be worth talking to a barrister about. But I'm really annoyed with her being brassy enough to put wooden planters in my driveway. They have fallen and the cars have been scratched. If I need to drive towards the back of my driveway, I cannot exit my car except through the trunk. And she didn't ask to put them there. They're on what is legally my property. Can I use them as a place to put my cigarette butts or something? There are no flowers in them. Just dirt. Occasionally they fall over and block my driveway entirely. Can I put flowers in them? If I can't get rid of them, can I at least make them useful? Since they've been on my property for months now, can I just have them thrown out? If I ask her to get rid of them, she will scream at me and make a huge scene. I've had to tow multiple cars from our driveway that were her guests. She's placed random dumpsters in our driveway at 6 a.m. without telling us. I'm sick of letting her petty behavior slide, and at minimum, I just want the planters gone. I've tried moving them back onto her property line, and she's moved them back into my driveway. Edit. A comment disappeared asking if I have documented previous incidents. The answer is yes. However, in Canada our documentation is limited as both parties need to consent to recordings. So our cameras only point at whoever is at our front door and the very end of our driveway. All of our neighbors were informed about the camera installation and reassured we were not recording their property. She has moved the planters out of view of the cameras. I have the timestamp app and am considering taking photos twice a day to prove they have been abandoned on our property. I'm not sure if this would be worth my time, though. The local authorities have other things to do than care about her planters on my property. I even recently called 911 to report a downed power line that posed a danger to anyone walking on the sidewalk. The dispatcher told me, I wish Hydro-Quebec, city's power company, would stop telling people to call us. It's their problem. The cameras have captured other things such as her letting people park in our driveway, her verbally confronting me while I was standing on my porch by the front door, because we towed her illegal worker in our driveway, and her animals wandering onto our property. By illegal, I mean that permission from the city to do construction was not obtained. If anyone wants to make physical changes, do renovations or construction, you need a permit from the city which protects the workers from being paid unfairly and ensures that safety measures are being taken. She doesn't do that. We wanted to report this to the city, but we're afraid of retaliation. She already tried to kill my dog once prior to installing the cameras. Update by you, Major Bummer in our legal advice on the 20th of April 2023. Update. My neighbor, whose driveway is parallel to mine, placed wooden planters in my driveway, blocking me from exiting my car. What can I do? Quebec. If you don't want to read the whole original post, here's a summary. My driveway is parallel to my neighbor's and she placed planters on my driveway. They were blocking me from exiting my car to the point I had to climb out of the trunk a few times. Our driveways, though parallel, are made of different pavement, which clearly indicates whose property is whose. My neighbor or someone else that lives in the household must be on Reddit, because a few days after I made my post here, the planters were moved back onto her property. The next day, they were destroyed and put out for the garbage collectors to dispose of. It seems that all I had to do to solve this issue was post on this subreddit. Color me surprised, but also very pleased I didn't have to lift a finger to deal with this matter. seeing as she, or someone she lives with, seems to regularly be on Reddit. You might be seeing more posts from me about other legal issues she has willingly created or ignored. I'm relieved. This is the easiest and best outcome I could have wished for. No wasting my breath arguing with her. No need to bring out the pettiness. And she disposed of them herself. Thanks for the advice. Now it's almost time to enjoy the weekend without climbing out of the trunk of my car. Edit. I've received heaps of messages saying two things. A. I need to burn this account, and B. Quebec is a one-party consent province for recording conversations. I'd like to touch on that if I may. I'm not worried about because our neighborhood is for the most part made of amazing people to call neighbors. I don't foresee having any issues, especially when public security. Think of them as a government-funded neighborhood watch with the authority to issue tickets for non-felonious things. Is only minutes away. As for B, people DMing me and saying that I only need one party to consent to a recording in Quebec are correct. If we are in public, in a private setting like my own property where there's an expectation of privacy, I can only record what is mine. So if someone walks into the street and starts shouting and making a scene, that's one thing, because everyone else can hear. If they're simply walking their dog past my house or they're on an adjacent lot, I can't record them without permission because they have a reasonable expectation of privacy. The law is oddly specific, and we had to double-check when installing the cameras. I am not the op. She already tried to kill my dog once prior to installing the cameras. She what? A bad neighbor can make living in even the perfect house a torturous experience. Well, that was easily resolved. She already tried to kill my dog once prior to installing the cameras. Talk about burying the lead. My neighbor is engaged in some mildly annoying behavior with inconveniently located planters. Also, she tried to murder my pet once. Why would the op come home, find something on their property that inconvenienced them, and leave it there? Why not move it out of the way? I literally sold my house and moved because it had a mutual shared driveway with a very inconsiderate neighbor. Never again. This is the most Canadian post I have ever seen. Never have I ever heard someone admit they climbed out of their car trunk in order to keep peace with a neighbor. Tears of joy. Oop is misinformed. Someone on the sidewalk or outside in a yard has no reasonable expectation of privacy. She has every right to point a camera at the entire length of the driveway of her own property. Because even if, for some reason, Canada has a very strange understanding of what reasonable expectation of privacy means in an outdoor location that is most likely visible from a public street, her neighbor would likely not enjoy that right because it's not the neighbor's property. It's OOP's. Reasonable expectation of privacy generally refers to things like the interior of a home, a bedroom, a bathroom, heck, even a living room with the blinds open while the occupant inside is fully naked. But not a driveway. Yay for the power of Reddit. I was thinking that the lack of camera footage works both ways. They can't prove the neighbor dumped the planters, but also the neighbor has no proof that these are their planters. I was picturing a sign, abandoned planters $1 each, which would encourage someone to steal them. I don't understand why the OOP didn't just throw away the planters. They could have filmed themselves doing just that since it's their own property. Maybe I missed something? That's actually hilarious. I just want to know why. Was the neighbor P.O'd about something? I would have considered it a welcome to the neighborhood or a let's be friends gift and put them somewhere she couldn't get it easily. If she wanted them back, she would have to discuss it. Oop is more patient than me. I would have kicked them over onto her driveway daily until they were off my property. Why doesn't Oop just get a permit to install a small fence or something along the property line? This problem is not going to just go away because the neighbor may have possibly seen their Reddit post. I live in the States and my daughter bought a small cottage on less than 0.25 acres and is surrounded on 3 sides by various members of another family. To the back of her property is a large shed that one of them has placed on or over the property line with the doors opening towards my daughter's house. Daughter's BF has a camper parked adjacent to these doors. Neighbors had the audacity to request they park the camper far enough away so they can get the doors open. Apparently, we'll have to spend the dollar to get the property surveyed. What the poor dog have to do with anything? Why did she try to kill him? I'm not sure what this person means when they say that their documentation is limited because both parties need to consent to a recording. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Canada is a one-party consent, isn't it? Basically, as long as one of the 2 participants is the one recording, it's fine, to my knowledge. There is also no specific law regarding video recordings unless they contain audio, in which case eavesdropping is still not permissible. You also have to respect someone's right to privacy, so you can't just be recording the neighbor's fenced-off backyard. But otherwise, it's free game. I would have suggested moving OP's car and just dropping a few lit cigarettes onto the planters. No planters. No problem. ILPT. People on a city street have a reasonable expectation of privacy? Canada. 'Tis a silly place.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Heracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.